Hey guys, it's me Dashama, and I was just thinking about a meditation that I learned when I was at Vipassana several years ago that I wanted to share with you guys. And what really made me think that you might enjoy this is I was telling one of my Brazilian friends about it recently, and she was like, "You gotta teach me this. It's like 45 minutes orgasmic meditation." And I'll give you a little bit of background about this story of how it came to be. And then if you're interested in learning the meditation, leave a comment and let me know. And I'll make a video about how to actually do the practice itself. But I'll just tell you the story for now so you can understand basically what it's all about. So I was in Vipassana. If you're familiar with Vipassana, it is a 10-day silent meditation retreat that it's a technique of meditation that was passed down from Buddha from 2,500 years. So it has not changed at all in 2,500 years, and they teach the same technique, and it's really profound. I had always thought of doing this, but I thought I could never sit and be quiet and not talk and not have my phone or even reading. You can't read or write, and you're not even allowed to look at anybody. There are other people in the retreat, but you're not supposed to look at them. I even had a roommate, and I could never look at her or talk to her at all. So it's a very, very deep introspective experience, very profound. I highly recommend if you ever get a chance to do Vipassana. But anyway, so I went to the Vipassana retreat, and I did not know exactly what to expect. All I knew was that I was ready for a shift in my life. I was so go and busy and always 1,000 miles per minute, very physical my whole life, very physically active. I was an athlete, I was a cheerleader, I was in every single sport, I was in all the clubs in school, I always had jobs after school, and then I was in all the social circles. So I was like a socialite, going to all the parties in school. And then when I got out of school, I filled all my time with movement or doing or some kind of social activity. So it was very rare for me to just sit and do nothing. And so this was a profound idea that I would go and actually just 10 days do nothing but sit and meditate. I had already been teaching yoga for 10 years by the time I did Vipassana, but meditation was never my favorite part of yoga, of course. I always loved the asanas, and you can see there's a lot of people, when you start out in yoga, usually meditation is not your favorite part, because the reason the asana was actually developed was so that your body could let go of all of that excess energy so that it could feel good while it's sitting, and so that you can really get into that deep state of meditation. So anyway, I go to the Vipassana retreat. I was like, I surrender. I was ready for a shift in my life and my consciousness and to go deeper in my meditation. So I let go of my cell phone. They take your phone away from you when you get there. And I told all my friends, I'll talk to you in 10 days. And I surrendered to the experience, which turned out to be one of the most profound experiences of my entire life. And I'll share with you a little bit, and it'll lead up to this 45-minute orgasmic meditation. So basically, you go into the Vipassana. Every single day, you sit for 10 hours every day, meditation, silent meditation. And even that alone is just profound, because to be able to sit for 10 hours, you have to really move beyond a lot of mind chatter and uncomfortability in your body and things like that. I felt really lucky because 10 years of teaching yoga, it was not difficult for me to sit for that long, which in the beginning it was. Like, I remember in the beginning when I first started teaching yoga, it was difficult for me to sit even 1 hour. 1 hour, my hip was like screaming, and I didn't know if I could survive it. And then so I had built myself up over several years to get to this point where I was able to do it. So anyway, my hips are all opened up and my spine is strong, and I'm able to hold the posture, the seated posture, and really get into the technique. So the technique is very simple, and I'll explain it in the video if you want me to. So just leave a comment and let me know if you want me to teach you guys this technique, and if you do, I'll teach it in the next video. But I'm just going to explain the story so you can get the backstory, and hopefully it'll inspire you. So basically, I was sitting in the first day of meditation. It was actually nothing too profound, it was just, connecting with my breath and observer perspective and seeing from a wider lens view of my thoughts, and just taking my meditation practice and extending it out to a 10-hour period over the course of one day. So then day 2 was kind of similar. They give you a little bit different techniques, so you start to expand the technique by day 2. And day 3 is when I had this incredible experience. So day 3, I was like, okay, I'm gonna bring in some of my wisdom and knowledge of Kundalini, and I started to do the Mula Bandha contraction. So I was like pulsing Mula Bandha. I was sitting there, I was contracting Mula Bandha and pulsing it, right? And it was like, all of a sudden, my body went into like this full body, literally like orgasm for 45 minutes. I didn't realize it was that long, but it was like absolute samadhi. Like I went beyond time. At the time, I had no idea how long it was. All I knew was I was transcendent of all time, and my body was in absolute complete bliss. Every single cell of my body, I was in an orgasmic bliss. So if you've ever, had an orgasm, you know what this feeling is, and then just imagine it extending out for like 45 minutes, and then you by yourself, and then you just losing complete track of time and space and where I was. I had no idea where I was. Finally, when I opened my eyes, I looked around and everybody was gone from the meditation room, and I was the only one left. And so I felt kind of embarrassed. I was like, oh, I wonder if anybody could tell or if anybody noticed, but I was quiet, of course. But it was just, I had no idea what anybody could tell about that. So anyway, I went up to the teacher afterwards and I asked him, I told him what happened. Basically, I told him what happened. And he said, which I would never forget, he said, he's like, you have to go deeper. He's like, you have to go deeper than that. And I'm thinking, what's better than that? So, but I was there for a real intention, so I wanted to go as deep as possible. So I basically, so day 4, day 5, day 6, I was going deeper and deeper. And I stopped doing the Mula Bandha pulsation because I knew it was going to send me into this orgasmic bliss feeling. But according to the teacher, he was saying that wasn't the deepest I could go. So I was like, all right, I'm going to go as deep as possible. So day 4, day 5, day 6, day 7. Now day 7 was when I had actually the biggest breakthrough of my meditation history of all time in that experience up until then. And what happened was, I remember my right hip, up until then I was feeling pretty comfortable sitting for 10 hours a day. I was quite surprised. But all of a sudden, my right hip was really hurting me. And it has always been the tighter side. So, I really work on opening the right hip over the years. And so, anyway, by day 7, so this was like my 70th hour of meditation straight in a row, I was, my right hip started really hurting. And it was screaming with pain. And it was like my whole mind and consciousness was just stuck on that pain. And I was like gonna die, I felt like, because I couldn't get rid of it and I couldn't do anything about it, and I was just kind of stuck there with it, and I had to breathe through it. And I remembered what the teacher had said, which is this word in Tibetan Buddhism, which is anicca. So anicca is a word for transcending the duality of existence. So not this, not that. Everything in life is about, grasping for what you want and running away from what you don't want. And it's this constant polarity or duality of life. So the moment when I was sitting there in all this excruciating pain, and my mind is like, anicca. I could just hear this teacher's like screaming voice echoing in my mind, and I was just like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. And then all of a sudden, like, my mind exploded, or that's what it felt like anyway. My mind exploded, all the pain completely dissolved, because I had finally let go of wanting it to dissolve. I had let go of the desire for it to stop hurting, and the aversion to the pain, and had completely let go, because there was nothing else I could do. I just had to completely surrender, and I let go. And the moment I let go of that pain, it literally changed my life forever. The pain was gone in an instant, and it really, really solidified the understanding that all of the pain in our life is completely created in our mind. And so when we want to let go of the pain and transcend the pain and get out of the pain and or whatever, or the other opposite side of that is when we want the pleasure, we're moving towards our desires and all the desire energy that we're trying to grasp for and strive for and work for, and all of this stuff. It's that same duality, polarity. It's like wanting, don't wanting, liking, don't liking, needing, don't needing, polarity, aversion, and it's a never-ending cycle of suffering. That's the whole teaching of Buddhism, really, or that whole teaching from Buddha, is that the never-ending cycle of suffering is coming from this duality construct, that we want, we don't want, we like, we don't like, the judgment, the attachments, the aversions. So anyway, that was my story. So that was day 7. Now what happened was, it was actually quite profound. When this pain stopped, when my right hip stopped hurting, literally, and my mind exploded. It really felt like it exploded, because like everything dissolved, and I went into a timeless place where there was absolutely just bliss and acceptance and oneness and love and joy, and like the joy of not having that pain was like amazing. And it taught me so much. And at the same time, I had to keep with the meditation, of course. I still had 3 days to go. So the deeper I went, the deeper it went. And I actually, during that 10-day Vipassana experience, went to what I would consider one of the deepest core pain of my life. Understanding of the core pain of my whole existence. Everybody has what they call a personal lie, which is kind of the lie or the belief at the core of any wound that you have in this lifetime. And it can be carrying over from past lives. Everybody has something. So mine, I found out, and I had known this for several years, but something during this meditation experience really solidified and made it more understood. But that my whole life, nothing had ever been enough. Like I was always striving for perfection. I had this thing with perfection, like I needed to be perfect, and I was like that in school, and I was like that in mostly everything that I ever did, in sports and my friendships. And it was good in a sense. It pushed me to be the best I could be all the time, but at the same time, nothing ever felt enough, so I never felt satisfied or content. In yoga, we have a word for this contentment, and it's called santosha. Santosha is this inner satisfaction, inner contentment, to just feel, fulfilled with whatever it is, with life, with the moment, with the people you're with yourself, more importantly than anything. And anyway, so in this 10-day Vipassana experience, I came to the core of that, the understanding that nothing had ever been enough for me. My whole life, nothing had ever been enough. I was always striving for more and pushing away things because it wasn't good enough, or it was a reflection of my own feeling of unworthiness or whatever. But this was a deep, deep core wound that was at the core of my soul, and it became really, really clear in this meditation. Then all of a sudden, it literally, like something else like smashed open in my heart, and it was literally like my heart broke open, and I cried for hours and hours and hours. From the moment that I had that realization, and a realization is something interesting, because it's not just a like a thought. It's a deep, deep knowing that's so deep. It's in your consciousness, it's in your soul, it's in your heart, it's in every cell of your being, this knowing. And that's what happened, was that I reached this deep core knowing of that personal lie that had caused so much suffering in my whole lifetime. And not only for myself, but for others around me. And I was able to see all the suffering that it had brought to people and to myself. And the pain that I had from that was so intense that I cried for hours and hours and hours. And I cried all night. I didn't even hardly sleep. My roommate probably was like, this poor girl. But actually, she cried different times throughout the week, so we kind of balanced each other out. It was really, really deep experience for me. But anyway, so that was like day 8 or day, and I still had a couple days after that. Luckily, the few more days of this 10-day meditation retreat experience with Vipassana, the last couple days I was able to regain, my sense of joy and peace. And when I came out of that experience, I still didn't want to talk to anyone. It was a profound shift, because up until then I was always like really talkative, and it shifted that, and it made silence my best friend, and like a craving that I have for silence, and it shifted everything inside of me in a really big way. It made my meditations deeper, it made my life deeper, made my relationships deeper, made my connection to God and to my own soul deeper. And so everything about my life became more profound after that. And also my love for meditation was really born from that experience. I was always into meditation, and even the year before that I had injured my shoulder, and it had forced me to kind of stop being so physical and to sit and meditate more, which led me to the Vipassana that changed my life. Anyway, so I just wanted to share this story, and I was thinking about sharing the technique that I was using to at least to produce that 45-minute orgasm experience. If you're interested in learning about that, leave a comment, click like, let me know if you're interested, and I will make a video and share it with you in the next video. Anyway, be sure and check out my other videos here on my channel, or come visit me at one of my teacher trainings or retreats worldwide. I'm teaching in Hawaii, in Bali, in Costa Rica, and many places around the world. You can visit my website, the links are in the description below. And I would love to meet you, or just send me a message and say hello, post a comment if you have any video requests, and I'll be making more videos for my channel here for you guys now. And sending you lots of love from Bali today, and I send you so much peace and harmony, health and happiness for your family and for your life. Namaste.